Hello everyone, back tuning into today's second video, doing GWV Sunday Round-Up for today's second video. So as always on Sunday, we've got your eclectic mix of this and that. We're going to be looking at things like sea surface temperature anomalies, solar activity, what's going on with Eurasian snow cover and Arctic sea ice extent. We're looking at the QBO, the SOI, the NEO, the AO, and the weather next week, 10 days and beyond. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and I'll talk you through the Sunday Round-Up very shortly. So the first video released today was the 10th and final summer 2020 update. So that's a bit of a May data special. Haven't got any finalised May data, so we are sort of projecting where we think we're going to finish up with the CET and with England Wales rainfall for this May. So have a look at that one. It'll be placed on the summer updates page this evening with a written summary. And that's ahead, of course, of next weekend when we're going to release the GWV.com summer 2020 forecast. So we're pretty much at the end of the journey now to summer. Also we've got the ENSO Metro France and GWV long range update coming up for you in around an hour or so's time, and then from 5 o'clock we're going to be live streaming. So we'll be on YouTube. I'll share the video on GWV.com and also across our social media accounts. But if you want to get involved in the live chat, then you'll need to go to YouTube. And we're going to be, of course, taking your questions. We'll be looking at the latest observations, and we shall show you the ECM ensembles as well, because we can't include them in this video. I haven't updated the Icelandic Met Office yet. And in that live stream, we will also show you the latest forecast for winter 2020-21 from the Beijing Climate Centre. So I'll show you 500 millibar height anomalies from the Beijing Climate Centre for the winter of 2020-21. In the live stream, so that will be quite an interesting watch, I would have thought, and that will be from 5 o'clock. So I'll see you there, maybe. But we've got a Sunday round to do first of all. And, of course, I did say that we'd set aside the first 5 minutes or so of the Sunday Round-Up to show some of your pictures. So that's where we'll begin with this one. We're going to begin with this picture sent through to us by Lee Stone. Lovely sunny day in Saunton Sands in Devon. So that was sent through earlier on in the week when the hot sunshine was blazing down. This one from Ben Anderson showing a lovely sunny afternoon in Cambridge, in a park in Cambridge. Now, we've also got Discord, so if you would like to post your pictures there, it's quite easy to do so. This one showed us on Discord by Sheeram, showing, again, hot sunshine in essentially back earlier on in the week. This one shared on Discord by Adrian Major. Again, lovely, lovely sunny afternoon. I think Adrian is down in Somerset, so a lovely afternoon in Somerset back earlier on in the week. This one's from our good friend Siren Bruin, and this is in Dublin. Lovely sunset in Dublin, shared on Discord by Siren. Or Shryan. And also this one by Chelsea Bill, shared yesterday or the day before, showing thundery showers. Very ominous, dark looking sky where Chelsea Bill is, and that looks pretty thundery, like a big downpour was on the way. I think Chelsea Bill had several thunderstorms and thundery showers on Friday, I think that one was. This is the GWV's Discord, so if you'd like to show your pictures there, all you need to do is come to the Discord page and then go to your weather images, and then you can drop the image in, and that's really great. That's really easy to do. So you can also share them with us, of course, though, on our Facebook accounts. You can share them with us on Twitter. You can email them to us at gazwebs@gmail.com, and when we've got the time, and particularly for the Sunday Round-Up, which I've tried to sort of set aside for your pictures, we will show some of those pictures when we get a little bit of time and the beginning of the Sunday Round-Up. So thank you everybody for sharing your pictures, absolutely great. And the Discord is a new feature that we've just started at GWV, so check it out. The link is in the description with videos at YouTube. Check out GWV's Discord, and maybe post a couple of pictures there if you would like to do that. Right, let's move on with Sunday Round-Up then. I'm going to start off with solar activity. So this is how the solar disk is looking on our side of this day from solarham.net. We have a spotless solar disk today. Again, no sunspots at all. So therefore, solar activity is at very low levels and is expected to remain at very low levels for the next 3 days at least. This regards with his solar activity tracker. Updated by good friend James April up to yesterday, and we are flatlining again. The orange line is indicating each individual day's worth of sunspots, you see, but back in April we did get quite a large sort of group of sunspots appearing there, but since then we have really been flatlining away now for quite a few weeks. It looks like May could actually be an entire calendar month without sunspots, I think. But certainly we're on the floor of the chart with the orange line, and the thick red and thick green, which are our trend lines, they are flatlining away as well. So we really are at a very, very low level of solar activity right now, and it's exactly what you expect to happen with solar minimum. This is a really, really deep solar minimum, of course. You see how we're getting these long stretches without any sunspots, just broken by occasional days where we do get a few sunspots, but essentially we're still well and truly locked into solar minimum, and we can expect to remain to be locked in to solar minimum for quite some time. I think even as we move into solar cycle 25, we're probably going to have quite a slow move into solar cycle 25, similar to what happened with solar cycle 24. This one's been sent through by our good friend Richard Short. So this is showing spotless days and the current spotless stretch. So for 2020 so far, we have had 113 days without any sunspots. That is 78% of the year so far. Compares to 2019, which had 281 days without sunspots. That was 77% of the year. So this is really, really deep solar minimum stuff, and it is comparable. And even a little bit, it is comparable to the last solar minimum taking place around 2008 and 2009, but possibly it's a little bit deeper actually, this solar minimum, compared to the solar minimum of solar cycle 23 to 24. So yes, we're locked into proper deep solar minimum conditions, and there's no sign that we're pulling out of this anytime soon, so we can expect solar activity to remain at very low levels for the time being, and probably for several weeks, maybe even several months to come. Big thank you to James and to Richard for sending through those pieces of data, those charts. Moving on to solar activity next. Moving on to sea surface temperature anomalies. We've just done solar activity, haven't we? So moving on to sea surface temperature anomalies. This is how the oceans were looking this time last week with the sea surface temperature anomaly maps from NOAA. So we've got our three areas of interest. That's the ENSO region just there. We've got the Northern Pacific over here, and then we've got the Northern Atlantic over there. That's how things were looking last week. Let's have a look at the very latest, shall we? Let's deal with the ENSO region first of all. This is from the 21st of May. Dealing with the ENSO region first of all, we're continuing to cool down the sea surface temperature anomalies through here. So if we compare that to last week, we can see that's how things looked across the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Last week, this is how things are looking now. Definitely, we are deepening that colder than average area of sea surface temperature anomalies, particularly just there. That could well be the signature of La Nina. We could well be moving into probably a weak La Nina, but we could well be moving into a La Nina. We'll be talking about this in our ENSO update, which will be released on Friday evening. Got the ENSO update coming up on Friday evening for you, so I'll be talking in depth about this then. But that could well be a signal that we're going into a weak La Nina as we move into this summer. It has been a relatively quick transition as well, although it's not going into a moderate or strong event. It has been quite a quick transition into this weak La Nina. We have cooled those sea surface temperature anomalies down quite rapidly in that central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, so quite interesting what, if any, effects that might have on the summer. Going further north into the northern Pacific Ocean, again, that's how things looked last week. This is how things are looking now. Generally quite warm again now in this northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean. We've seen it on and off over the past few years, since around 2014. We're in the warm phase of the Pacific Decadal Oscillation. And so it's very often is warm and average up here, I think. Although we did have some cold and average sea surface temperature anomalies a couple of months ago, but they have weakened quite considerably, and now it is rather warmer than average, or it's becoming rather warm and average up there. Moving into the North Atlantic Ocean, we've still got quite warm sea surface temperature anomalies in the tropics. So yes, that continues warm and average sea surface temperature anomalies in the tropical Atlantic. Things getting ever colder seemingly around here, kind of like Newfoundland and going down the eastern seaboard of the United States. So we aren't all that far away from a tripole signature. We're sort of warmer here, colder here and here, but it's just to the south of Greenland that things aren't warming up particularly at the moment. But it is quite interesting sea surface temperature anomaly profile that we see there. Cold in the Norwegian Sea as well. Cold and average sea surface temperature anomalies up there. That's down to the cold spring, of course, that they've had across much of Scandinavia. Very delayed spring this year up in northern parts of Norway and Sweden. On the new view, this is how things are looking. So this is the new version of sea surface temperature anomalies from NOAA. Again, we see the La Nina signature just here. It still looks quite intense, even on the new view, actually, just there. So it looks like we are on our way towards La Nina to me. Warm and average up here. I'm in the Atlantic. The tropics, again, looking quite warm through the tropical Atlantic. Colder through here. Does look a little bit warmer on this view to the south of Greenland. So on this view, we do actually have what looks like a bit of a tripole signature, to be honest, which is, of course, quite interesting when that happens in the month of May. And I'll say no more than that. We have got to get used to this new view of the sea surface temperature anomalies, because I think at some point we're going to lose these charts. We will be able to see these as a historic, sort of in the historic archive, like going back over the years. We'll still be able to access these charts for that, but I think updated daily or updated new charts, I think we'll lose these this view before too much longer, probably. So we have got to get used to this sort of version of the sea surface temperature anomaly maps. SOI next. So this is the Southern Oscillation Index. This is an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state in the Southern Pacific Ocean. It's not driving anything in its own terms. It just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. When the SOI is in its positive phase, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is in its negative phase, the atmospheric setup will be reflective of El Niño. So it's measuring air pressures between Darwin and Tahiti and coming out with an overall number. So these are our columns just here. These are all preliminary, but they don't tend to get changed by Bureau of Meteorology all that much. So we've got our column for Tahiti's air pressure just there, Darwin's air pressure just there, and this is the overall daily SOI contribution. So we have had more positivity of the SOI over this month, and that's the reason the sea surface temperature anomalies have become colder in the actual Pacific Ocean. Example, 9th of May comes out at plus 10.44, 13th of May comes out at plus 15.26, 14th of May comes out at plus 18.90, 16th of May comes out at 12.66. A little bit of negativity on the 19th and 20th at minus 8 to minus 6. That's more reflective with the atmospheric setup of an El Nino. But coming back up the screen, we find that the 21st of May comes out at plus 10.97, and the 22nd of May comes out at plus 5.15, and the 23rd of May, latest daily contribution, of course, ahead of us in Australia, comes out minus 0.442. So overall, the SOI has lifted up. The SOI 30-day average is moving into a more positive phase, quite negative back at the end of April, but now we're around here. So we are gradually increasing the SOI 30-day average. That, again, could be the atmosphere beginning to move towards kind of like a weaker La Nina type setup. We shall see. This is how Eurasian stone cover is looking, so we won't look at this much more. I know a lot of you do like to see this, but very shortly there won't be much left to see until we get to September. So I will think we'll probably maybe show this one last time next week, this chart, and then we'll probably leave it off really until we get to September, because we are now virtually snow free across large portions of Siberia. We've just got a little bit of snow clinging on across the far north and northeast of Siberia, but most of the Siberian plain is now thawed out, as you'd expect, of course, as we're moving rapidly into the summer. Still got quite a bit left over Scandinavia. I'd say it's been a very delayed spring across northern parts of Scandinavia, so there is still quite a bit of snow up there. But we'll probably look at this one last time next week, and then I think we won't look at that again until we get into the winter updates from September. So one last time we'll look at this next week, and then I don't think there'll be a great deal of point in including it within the Sunday Roundup as we get into June. But of course you will see this regularly, week after week, when we start doing winter updates from September, of course, and that will come round a lot quicker than you might think. This is how Arctic sea ice extent is looking for this year. So the blue line is 2020. We're just there for Arctic sea ice extent. If we put in our long-term averages, so we're on a par with the 2011 to 2019 average, really. We're below the 2001 to 2010 average. We're well below the 1991 and 2079 to 1990 average, and somebody asked me to include 2012, so let's get rid of those averages and put in 2012. That's the death spiral, of course. Remember that quite clearly, that we had a death spiral of Arctic sea ice during the summer of 2012. So let's put that in, the year that has the year that currently holds record minimum. So actually we are below 2012 right now, so the red dash line is 2012, and we're quite considerably below that. But what's probably going to happen, what tends to happen most years with this, is that we sort of converge the lines at some point further on, and then maybe pull up short of it, do something like that. Of course, you never know how it's going to work out, but that tends to be what happens most years just lately. We may have another death spiral, we'll have to wait and see. But where we are right now with Arctic sea ice, even though we're under 2012, quite considerably so, where we are right now does not mean at all that we're going to have another death spiral. Which is the reason I haven't been showing 2012. Somebody asked me why I've not been showing 2012, and the reason is that we are well under it, but that does not mean that we're going to have another death spiral. So you'll start seeing more of the yearly data, like 2012, 2013, 2014, so on, when we get much further into the melt season, and we can see where we are. It's still very, very early days for this melt season right now. QBO is continuing to prove to be a mystery. This is from NASA. So, again, we should be going into the easterly phase of the QBO. We are in a weak easterly QBO phase, I think. But the blue and green colours, which are the easterly QBOs, are not really descending all that well. We have got them within the lower level of the atmosphere, just there, the easterly QBO. It's not descending all that well, though. And if we zoom in, let's go in close, we can see that, if anything, we're possibly seeing signs of the westerly QBO strengthening a little bit. We've got a little bit of westerly QBO up here. We've got a bit of westerly QBO still around here. And the easterly QBO is like down there. So it's very, very strange what's happening with the QBO at the moment. I still maintain we're going to go into a proper easterly QBO phase before too much longer. But it really is a mystery what's happening with the QBO at the moment. So we're just going to keep monitoring it, and I would expect when we get this month's QBO number coming, it may actually be a little bit less easterly than last month, I think. But we'll see when the number comes in early in June. But it is a real mystery what's happening with the QBO at the moment. I still maintain we're not getting a failure of the ECQBO like we did in 2016, but the longer this goes on without us properly, truly locking into the easterly QBO, the more sort of doubts starting to creep in. So we shall see how it's looking next week anyway, but it is a real mystery what's going on with the QBO at the moment. Arctic oscillation observed and forecast looks like this. The black line shows where we've been with the Arctic oscillation. Red lines at the end where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation to go. It's just an index like all of these other indexes, the SOI, the QBO, you know, they are all just indexes that reflect the atmospheric state. They don't drive anything in their own terms. They just tell us what the atmosphere is doing, what the atmospheric state is, if you like. So when the AO is in its positive phase, when you have low pressure over the Arctic, you'll strengthen the zonal westerlies in the winter in particular. When the AO is in its negative phase, you have high pressure blocking over the Arctic, and of course in winter that's the route to getting cold conditions. In summer, when you have northern blocking, you'll tend to go cool and wet, or we will tend to go cool and wet when we have northern blocking in the summer, but not always. I did have quite a bit of northern blocking last summer, and we actually had quite a warm summer. So where we are with the AO right now is just there, so we're weekly positive. We're going to keep the AO in weekly positive phase for the next few days, and then drop it down into negativity of the AO, a negative phase of the AO, as we go through the first week of June. So it does look as though the AO will start to go a little bit more negative as we move into the opening week or so of June. That could be an indication of some northern blocking beginning to get going. At the start of June, the NAO observed and forecast chart looks like this. So again, the black line shows we've been with the NAO. Red line at the end where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the NAO to go. As with the AO, it's just an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. This time looking at the North Atlantic as opposed to the Arctic. The AO is currently in a weekly positive phase. The GFS ensembles are generally keeping the NAO in a weekly positive phase through to the beginning of June. So we're going to have a weekly positive NAO, and as far as the AO is concerned, again, weekly positive, trending probably towards negative through the early part of June. Right, let's do some forecasting, and we're going to have a look at the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. Next, so we're looking at Norwich today. The red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Norwich. Starting off a little bit on the lowly side with the upper air temperature at the moment. They're still struggling a bit after the more unsettling to-do that we've been through, but you can see that they're clearly on an upwards trend. They're trending upwards, and yes, the coming days are going to be warm or even very warm. And we're going to see temperatures pushing up into the mid to possibly borderline upper 20s Celsius on the surface, actually, as we go through the early and middle part of next week. Beyond that, moving into the first week or so of June, we do see a little bit of scatter. But to be honest, overall, it looks like things are going to be staying quite warm with the upper air temperatures even then. There are a few cold outlier members appearing. They aren't all that well supported, so I think for the moment we probably go with these warmer ensemble members up here. So warm weather continuing from May into June. You'll notice this green line taking off here. That is today's midnight GFS operational run. And that really does take off and become very, very hot, and I'll show you it in a moment. Looks like it's an outlier, but obviously we do have quite a few warm or very warm ECL ensemble members. So anyway, I'll show you that in a moment. Precipitation-wise, lots of dry weather coming up until the end of May. Now for Norwich, barely any rain to come. First week of June probably goes a bit more unsettled, but we keep seeing this, that the GFS ensembles want to turn things more unsettled in week 2. But until that gets into week 1, treat with a large amount of caution. Temperature anomalies from the 24th of May to 1st of June are above average. It's going to be a warmer than average week coming up, not just for the UK, but for most of Western Europe. Precipitation anomalies, a bit of a north-south split, a bit wetter than average for Scotland and Northern England, drier than average, though, for England and Wales, or for most of England and Wales. I think we'll see these trending drier over the next day or so. This is taking into account some quite wet weather that we've had up the modes, or we had yesterday and overnight in the north, but I think we will see these trending quite a bit drier in the next few days. We shall see. Right, that's how the GFS looks for Wednesday. High pressure is centred right over top of the country at 1,000 and 35 millibars. It's bringing us dry, fine, and very warm conditions on Wednesday. And the high pressure is still with us over top of the country on Thursday as well. Weather obviously set there through the next few days. That's Friday. Again, high pressure well and truly in control. We're beginning to draw up some hotter southerly winds as well as we go into next weekend. So mid upper 20 Celsius temperatures certainly possible with that. By a week away, this is Sunday, 21st May, we could just be generating a thundery low there. We might be starting to generate a thundery area of low pressure. It's a long way out, that, however, but possibly hints a bit of thunder in around a week's time. That sort of slips away, and then we just go back into the ridge of high pressure again. It's a very strong ridge, stable ridge of high pressure over Scandinavia and in the Azores as well. After that little interruption of slightly more unsettled conditions in around a week's time, we're back to high pressure by the time we get to day 10, the ridge building in off the Atlantic from the Azores high once again. And then look what the GFS midnight operational run does as we move into the extended range. It sets up an area of high pressure just over and to the east of the country and starts to draw in a very hot east to southeasterly wind there by the 7th of June. Look at the upper air temperatures, and yes, they really are lifting up very, very considerably. The plus 10 Celsius isotherm is into northern Scotland, plus 15 Celsius isotherm is in southern England. That's probably enough to take the temperature to around 30 degrees. Bear in mind, it was a bit of an outlier within the GFS ensemble. As you can see, where the green line took off there at the end. So it was an outlier, but it's sort of thing we've seen over the past few summers, these sort of heat spikes, so we should wait and see. We finish up with this GFS midnight operation run on Tuesday the 9th of May, again looking a little bit on the thundery side perhaps. That's over 2 weeks away though. The GM, high pressure over top of the country for Wednesday, dry, fine, hot conditions, or very warm conditions through the middle of the week into the second half of the week as well. Next weekend, possibly hinting at a bit of a thundery breakdown, particularly for more northern and western areas. But high pressure quickly comes back in as we move into the opening days of June. So this is the 2nd of June, and high pressure is back in, dominating weather with the GM by then, returning us to mostly dry and very warm conditions. I think I'm competing with a bird chirping in the background, aren't I? So sorry about that. Got windows open, quite warm here this morning. But I think there's a bird chirping away. But we shall persevere. This is how the ECM is looking for Wednesday. Again, high pressure centred over top of the country, bringing loads of dry, fine and warm conditions on Wednesday. That goes on to Thursday, and it's still there on Friday, looking very warm right way through to the end of the week and mainly dry. The weekend might yield some sort of a thundery interlude. It looks more likely for more western parts of the country, but not for long. And by the time you get through to the opening days of June, the high pressure is back in business once again. So that returns us to mostly dry, fine and warm conditions through the opening days of June. These are classic charts that we are seeing here. They are the kind of charts that you expect to see when you're going to have, the sort of very warm and dry summers, really, with the Azores high very, very ridgy. The Azores high constantly wanting to ridge in and also try to get itself up to Scandinavia too. So these are classic charts that we're seeing at the moment, I have to say. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Tameteo.com. So some showery rain still left in the north at the moment. Most of that will die out, and then we're going to go drier over coming days. And of course, as high pressure builds in, temperatures will be getting really quite warm as well. Just some rain coming and going in the far north and west of the country, but basically we're high and dry through the rest of this week now. Into next weekend, again, possibly just hints at a few showers breaking out, not making as much of those showers, though, as like the GFS or the GM would do, actually. So the ECM is on the drier side for next weekend. No real thundery interlude next weekend. And then we're back into high pressure again. So for most of us, the ECM is actually going for like 10 days of continuously dry weather away from the northwest. It's already been very, very dry across many parts of England and Wales, where I am in Northants. It's been really dry through the past couple of months. And the ECM sees another 10 days for me, and for a lot of you, sees another 10 days without any measurable rainfall whatsoever. So if this is going to go on much longer, I think we're probably going to have to start thinking about droughts, really, if this goes on too much longer. CFS V2, finally, to end this Sunday roundup. Of course, we'll show you the ECM ensembles when we live stream from 5 o'clock. They don't update until around 11:30 at the Icelandic Met Office UK time. So I haven't got time to include them in the Sunday roundup, but we will look at them in the live stream this afternoon. So CFS V2 finally before we go, and these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes from 24th to the 30th of May. The coming week is dominated, absolutely dominated, by high pressure, dry, fine and very warm conditions. Now a big change for week 2, and we don't really see this on this morning's shorter range models. This is the 31st of May to the 6th of June. So it's like week 2 or days 9, 10 and beyond, days 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 for example. And within most of this morning's output we are not seeing these signs for week 2, but the CFS looks very unsettled for week 2 with a deep trough of low pressure over the top of the UK and much of Northern Europe, high pressure pushed up here and out into the middle of the Atlantic. So that's a much wetter start to June. As I say, there's not much sign of that within the shorter range model output at the moment, but it could be that CFS has got this right. The shorter range is wrong. We shall see. Week 3 also looks quite unsettled. It's the 7th to the 13th of June. Again, below average heights across much of Western Europe, above average heights blocking out to the northwest. Winds are in from a north-northeast direction. That looks cool and unsettled, potentially quite wet to the south, and not much better for week 4. So the CFS looks really dodgy today for June. This is the 14th to the 20th of June, with trough of low pressure, again, more or less over top of the country, above average heights up to the north. That would be a cool and wet June, undoubtedly. Or certainly to the 3rd week of June anyway, would be cool and wet. But there's very little sign of that within the shorter range. So it's a little bit confusing where the CFS is going with this at the moment. And all eyes will be on the CFS, I think, in the coming days to see where it's going. And then lastly, this is the CFS V2, 700 millibar height anomalies looking for June 2020. So it has a small area below average heights to our south, above average heights out to the northwest and to the north. Bit of a blocking signal, bringing the wind from an easterly to northeasterly direction. Looks like could be rather unsettled, coolish type month really on that. Temperature anomalies with CFS, no signal, and precipitation anomalies again, no signal there either. So it is a bit confusing what's going on with CFS longer range for weeklies versus the shorter range stuff. But of course all will be revealed in the coming days, and we will be keeping a close eye on the CFS in the next few days. I'm quite sure about that. Right then, so that's the Sunday Roundup done and dusted, brought in just over half an hour, so a little bit shorter than the past couple of weeks. We shall be back in around an hour or so's time with the ECM Metro France and GWV long range update. Then we've got our live stream from 5 o'clock. Remember, we're going to show you the Beijing Climate Centre Winter 2020-21 forecast in that live stream. So it's from 5 o'clock. Going to be very, very interesting, I think. And don't forget to check out some analogs. That video we'll place on the Summer Updates page with written summary, and I'll get that up for you this evening. Tomorrow we've got our historic video. It's the 3rd and final part of the Frozen 40s trilogy, looking at the winter of 1941-1942. And it's already recorded. It's a pretty good watch, I think. So that'll be the historic video up tomorrow while I have a rest. Right, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.